Witch trials were all religion motivated. They actually date back to the early 1500s in Germany, Europe. Germany not being the only country, but there are thousands of recorded witch trial records. During the 17th century Inquisition, there was the beginning of a witch hunt and trial activity in Spain. See, the Spanish Inquisition was essentially a joint effort between the Catholic Church and the courts to sort out and persecute baptized members of the church who didn't follow its teachings, or those who actively went against them, which also coincides to Salem times when those colonists had left the Church of England and taken up Puritanism, a religion by which they also wanted everyone to abide. Now let's be clear, the church did not go on its heretic hunt for purely religion purposes. They did it for money too. The church could confiscate property and assets of the accused and therefore could earn a pretty penny from the trials. So what were the signs or tips that initiated witch hunts, trials, executions? If you were a woman of any kind, you were probably one of the devil's many hellish brides. Throughout history in Germany, Spain, England, Salem, there were mainly women prosecuted. For example, the 19 reported trials in Salem, 14 of them were women. If you were poor, hungry, cannot support yourself financially, you were often accused of witchcraft. There was a Sarah Good, hanged in 1692, was extremely disliked and distrusted by neighbors because she wandered from house to house begging for food. If you were rich or financially independent, if you're a grown woman living this life without any additional support, you probably also have a jar of eyeballs in your pantry. Any indication that a woman could live without the help or supervision of a man raised alarm. She would likely have been isolated from the community until, of course, she was arrested and put on trial. Of the women we have enough information about, between 1620 and 1725, women without brothers or sons to share their inheritance comprised 89% of the women executed for witchcraft in New England. Another sign, you have one or more female friends. A group of women congregating without a male chaperone was deemed a coven meeting to worship the devil. If you have had an argument with one or more of your female friends, infamous witch finders like Matthew Hopkins and John Cern inspired such terror in the community that it didn't take long for women to accuse other women of witchcraft as a way of deflecting their own indictments. Another sign, you have had an argument or disagreement with someone. The important thing to remember is that anyone could accuse anyone, and they did. If you found yourself accused of practicing witchcraft of any kind by any kind of person, you might as well have been seen flying naked over the moon on a broomstick made out of a cursed lover's ears. You are very old, woman, or very young. Dorothy Good was only 4 years old when she confessed to being a witch, simultaneously implicating her mother, Sarah, who was hanged in 1692. Dorothy was imprisoned for 9 months before her release. The experience left her permanently insane. If you are a healer, you might be a witch. One named Margaret Jones was executed in 1648. She had warned people that if they didn't do her prescribed treatments, they'd keep being sick, which today we say is just common sense. If you are married with too few or no children, the devil cursed your unholy womb with infertility. Plus, if your neighbors and their 6 children are suffering in any way, they almost certainly believe the jealous crone living next to them has hexed their home. Are your neighbors having trouble conceiving? You may be a witch. If a young couple nearby is having a difficult time conceiving, you are almost certainly stealing would-be babies from them because you are a witch. You have exhibited stubborn, strange, or forward behavior. Let loose any kind of sass or backtalk, and ye be a witch probably. Again, in the trial of Rachel Clinton, her accusers solidified the case against her with the following. Did she not show the character of an embittered, meddlesome, demanding woman? Perhaps, in short, the character of a witch? Did she not scold, rail, threaten, and fight? If you have a mole, birthmark, or a third nipple, you might be a witch. Any of these found on the body could be interpreted as the devil's mark. Butter or milk has spoiled in your fridge? Several testimonies against witches mention spoiled dairy products in connection with the accused. Be honest about the condition of your fridge before you continue. If any of the local cows aren't producing milk, that's probably your fault too. You have attempted to predict the identity of your future husband. Ever daydream about your future soulmate? Written their name in cursive in your notebook? Then likely you might be a witch. Breaking any biblical rule means you entered into a pact with the devil. In Salem, as a Puritan, you strictly observed the Sabbath, which meant no kindling of fire, no trading, and no traveling. You couldn't commit adultery, lead people to other gods by prophecy or dreams, lie, be gluttonous, idle, or miss church. If so, you were guilty of practicing witchcraft. You are hell-bound and will likely be hanged, burned, or left to rot in a filthy prison until you die.